All right, we are live. So, welcome back to the pod. We're here today with Pastor Paul Warren, one of the more influential people in my life, because you rarely see, you get the opportunity to sit down and talk to intelligent black men, because us black men sometimes don't really have anything intelligent to say. So, so a lot of times when you get the opportunity to sit down and listen, you need to sit down and listen. So we're gonna let Brother Paul introduce himself.
Let's see. Good morning. This morning, I'm Brother Paul Warren, minister of the Parkway Church of Christ here in the city of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. It's always a pleasure, most of all, an honor, just to come live. And we're just so thankful to God to be live today with Brother Kirk Killings here. One of the great singers in God's kingdom. And we're thankful to God to have him here. And we're thankful just to be asked to be on a guest on this podcast here on today.
All right, and I thank you for having. I thank you for being on. It's kind of hard getting people to interview and stuff. So, so with this, because I'm very informal, so I don't have like a uniform way of doing things. So, we just gonna have like a black conversation, pretty much.
Black.
So, with any black conversation, let's start with your childhood. What your childhood was like?
Childhood for me was it was good. I say it was good. Coming up in a family of 8, we didn't have it all. When I said we didn't have it all, we had struggles in our life. My father was a minister, and he stayed on the road about 85% of the time. And my mother, she was unable to do a lot of things around the house with us because she suffered from a disease called multiple sclerosis. And that had her down for a number of years. And we was really had to take the task. Me and my other family members, my brothers and sisters, had to take the task to help her doing her disease. So it was very influential, shall I say, that seeing my father gone from the house, but yet he had to leave us as we was head of the house. And so it was trying, but nonetheless, we learned a whole lot from our childhood era.
Okay, so I heard a lot about your father. Everybody that sees you, the first thing they bring up is your father and how he preached and how he influenced you and your brothers. I know a few of your brothers. So how many siblings do you actually have?
I have there's 5 of us, brothers, 3 sisters, 2 have passed away, but nonetheless, it was 8 total.
Okay. So, so tell me about your father. Everybody. I wasn't born back then, so when everybody talks about the great, how great your father was, it seemed like he was a great man. But from your perspective, tell me who your father was.
My father, Jim Warren, he was a gospel evangelist, establishing congregation churches of Christ all over the Alabama, the Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas areas. Been called to preach all over the part of the United States. But nonetheless, he found his calling around about the age of 15 years old. And he was taught by a man, another great evangelist by the name of Marshall Keeble. And so Marshall Keeble taught him in the gospel. He went to school for that to preach the gospel. And from there, it just took off. And he did very well. He instilled a lot of that in us from a young age. And so it was great. It was great.
Okay. So, saying that growing up and then you had both parents in the household,
Yes.
It's a common thing nowadays for a household to only have either the father or the mother. I grew up in a single parent household. So tell me some of the things that you learned from your father that you brought to your adulthood.
One is stability, being stable, even though you may not can be there 100% of the time, there was stability in the home, and the stability was we was put on charges of chores to handle certain things, and it was required of us to make sure that it was done we in the day and time we live in now, we said we don't put too many demands on our children, but nonetheless, there was a lot of demand on us. And I go back again and say, because my mother was not able to do a lot of things because of her disease, we had to stand in the gap and cook. We had to clean. We had to do a number of things around the house. And not only that, but had to take care of mama also. So with that, that helped me in my adult life, to even in my married life, that yet when the wife may be at work, she don't have to worry about come home and cook or clean or whatever. I'll take care of that because it just was instilled in me to do that. So I just try to make sure the home is taken care of, and and I think that helped me in my life for giving me that ability to lead back then, and it helped me right now to where I'm at now.
Okay, that's good. And I ain't gonna be no hater, but it's just the fact, whenever I like to hear stories about how great fathers were, because I ain't gonna say I never got this. I ain't gonna lie, okay, I never got to experience that. But it's just certain things that I learned that only when you have a father figure that you can that only he can teach you when he in the household, because So give me one of your favorite childhood memories.
Oh wow, it's too many.
You ain't been alive that long.
Watch out. But one of my favorite childhood memories. Wow, if I had to choose, maybe one of the favorite childhood memories is when I got a car. I'll put it that way. I got a car.
How old was you when you got this car?
16.
16. What kind of car it was?
It was a Chevrolet Monza.
I ain't never heard of that before. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yes, it's a little sport looking ugly car, but it was red. And he got us the car, me and my brother Mike. He got it for us together. Got my license, and he wanted to reward us with something. He rewarded me with the car.
Right.
And but that's another story, because even though it was a great memory, the memory was we didn't have that car for long.
Oh man.
Maybe I'll tell you later.
No, we gonna get into it. What happened to the car?
Oh wow. We was everywhere. We was given limits on where we could go. Man, of course, like the typical child, we break the rules. We bend the rules.
You snuck off.
Snuck off. That's it. That's the word.
And the car too.
And we would run all around town. But nonetheless, one day the brakes on the car was out, and we let the car sit up instead of letting him know that we had a mechanical problem with the car. We just let the car sit, and he noticed the car after a few days when he got back from on the road. Well, why we haven't drove the car? Well, the brakes are out. He said, why you didn't tell me the brake was out of the car?
Driving with no brakes.
We gonna try to fix it. He said, what you know about fixing the car?
Oh,
so to make a long story short, he got a little upset about it. When he checked the car, took the wheels off, we had to drove the car, and it went all the way down to the road. It was bad.
And then stopped.
Yeah. He got so upset with us. He took the keys back, and he sold the car. He sold the car, and he sold the car, and it hurt us so bad because we didn't have no transportation. We couldn't take our friends. We couldn't drive around.
Yeah. So that was a flex to have a car at 16. Or was that normal?
No.
It wasn't normal?
That was a blessing.
Okay, that was a blessing. Okay.
That was a blessing.
Blessing to have a car at 16.
And the thing about that though, in today's time, we got kids that say they want certain kind of cars. It was just whatever.
Right.
Whatever, it didn't make no difference what kind it was.
Right. Mm-hmm. So let's segue a little bit. So you are a father, a husband, and a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna ask this personal question: which of the three is tougher?
Being a minister.
Being a minister is tougher.
Yes.
Expound on that for a second.
the reason why I say that it is that you are dealing with not only your situation, you're dealing with everybody else's situation. And as a minister, it's tough to rationalize with some things that you may be dealing with inside, but you can't tell everybody about what your situation is.
Right.
You're trying to help that individual cope with their situation. And the thing about it is, you tend to take those problems or their situation home with you.
Right.
And you have to be careful because when you take those situations home with you, you are dealing with something also. And then it's with your family. Right. You have some things that you may be dealing with. So it's tough. And I'm going to tell you this, on the other end of it, it can cause health problems. And if you don't know how to cope with it. And it did do me a number also. I have gotten put in the hospital because my blood pressure was just out of control. There were some things on my heart, on my mind that I was dealing with, but yet didn't know how to cope with it.
Right.
And so I'm better now, but ministering, to answer your question, ministry is one of the tougher.
So, you recently stated, not recently, you just stated that being a pastor causes all these, I don't want to say unnecessary stresses, but because, as a pastor, you kind of chose to go that route. So you kind of, I ain't gonna say because you don't understand all the things that could entail, because nobody really knows until they actually do it.
Right.
So what was your motivation to become a pastor? Was it your father? Was it your brothers? Was it?
Honestly, it was my father. Just to see him to speak the way he did, to carry himself the way he did, to handle his family the way he did. Wow, it was a lot to be on the road so many times and up and down the road, come home a few days and then back on the road again in high demand, but was able still to handle the home business.
Okay.
And that's pretty much was a motivation. Now the motivational part was that once I realized that when I can put my trust in God and He'll guide me.
Right.
Yeah, that was the big motivation, because seeing God work in your life, and that's a, like I said, that's a deep subject. Seeing God, how He works in your life and not understanding how that happens.
Right.
And so that's been one of the big motivations, seeing my brothers also become ministers and my brother-in-laws become ministers. They were influential. And so we had an early teaching, shall I say, in the life of ministry.
All right. So tell us about, because I know you have two children?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about your give me a little spiel about fatherhood. I mean, sometimes we don't get to ask the questions because we just you grew up and you see how a father was supposed to be.
Right.
So for people like me who didn't have that type of stability, and sometimes we got to ask people like what is it like being a father? Like what is the?
It's great. I have a son and a daughter. You know. My son, he's in the military now.
Right.
But rearing him up, bringing him up to a man, when you have a son, it brings him pride and joy.
Right.
Because he has somebody to carry the name.
Right.
Not only carry the name, but to be in the image of him. And so I had to be on my best, shall I say, my best behavior around him, to be an influence in his life, to continue to always encourage him. The thing about black men is that we need more encouragement.
Yes.
We need to instill encouragement in these young men to let them know that you can do more. Just clean the floor, do this and that, but nonetheless to instill things in him. So at a young age, to get him to see what life had to offer, you had to use tough love. Now, when I say tough love, is that there's times that when he may be going through something, or some situation, then you got, instead of you just consoling,
You gotta let him bump his head.
you got to let him bump his head. And so, and I think that helped him a lot. Not only that, but even with my daughter, with a man as a father, when you see his daughter going through things, naturally, he's sentimental to her.
Right.
Because that, again, that's his seed, that's his pride and joy.
The daughter's always different.
Yes.
That's always different because you want to take extra care of her.
Amen. Amen. So we definitely take care of her still at the age that she's at 19. Still just treat her, still see her as my little baby, and love her to death. And the thing about it is to continue again to instill the love, the encouragement in her heart, and to let her know that they are loved. Because I think there's a lot of times that we as parents, African American parents, that we don't say "I love you" enough, and that need to really be instilled in the children's heart to let them know that I love you. God is good. He's been good to you, but to let them know that you love him and express that love into them. And I think that helps them to carry on much further down the road in the future.
That's a word right there, brother. So now that we know that you're a pastor and then you're a father, so tell us about the journey into being a husband. How long you been married?
Wow. You would ask me that. 23 years.
23 years.
23 years.
So tell me the story. How
did I meet my wife?
How you do that?
Well, I won't say a long story. I was in insurance business. I've been in insurance business for at that time 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I met my wife was I had a client. I went to see this client and we was talking, and she said, asked me a question, "Are you married?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Wow, are you looking?" And I said, "Well, it all depends." To make a long story short, she said, I have a friend, and I think that y'all can make a good couple. And I'm like, oh wow, I'm pushing away now, pushing away. Nonetheless, she said, I want you to meet her. So we set up a time, met her, and seen her. Wow, she was beautiful. Beautiful, pretty eyes, yes, beautiful smile, and yet we started talking. But you know, my wife, she's quiet,
right?
And
right.
I would do more of the talking, and she would just do more of the listening. And so, long story short, we started talking and dating, going out, and then one day I decided, hey, this right here is wife material. All right. It's wife material.
Now that's a question. That's a question there.
What is wife material?
Yes, that is a question right there, because a lot of, I think the dating scene nowadays got a little too crazy. They don't know what is what and apples from oranges and all that. So what qualities, and Sister Warren, that she gave off, not that she gave off, what qualities that highlighted so much for you that you were like, this is gonna be my wife?
Oh, great question. What did it for me is that number one, she was caring. She was very caring. She carried herself in such a way that yet, even though that you can talk to her about your problems, it wouldn't go no further than that.
Right.
It would go right there. But she knew how to console you back, to talk to you back, to help you, whatever you were dealing with. And so I found it that we would talk. We would sit on the phone and talk hours at a time.
Yeah, okay.
Deep. We would get talking about the future, where we want to be. And,
that's where it started.
Yeah. About the future and where we wanted to be. And because we just connected so to a point, we would do more and more outing. And then I said, look, you know, hey, you know, I gotta get her. And so I purchased a ring. Make a long story short, I purchased a ring. Went to a job. She worked for the Stone County Justice Court.
Okay.
Went in her office one day and we was talking, and I opened the ring box up and set it on the desk. And she just broke down and started crying. She knew what it was. And I asked her the question, would you marry me? And She said yes.
What if she would have said no?
Oh,
I would ran out of the building.
you couldn't do nothing but just, take the ring and slap it back up and
Just close the box up and walk back out.
close the box up and walk on out of there.
But ever since then we've been we have done well. I wish I'd have met her a long time ago.
Right.
You may hear a lot of us say that. I wish I'd have met her a long time ago. But it just
We all say that, because I say that about my wife too, because we met at a time where we both were like emotionally vulnerable, and we were still kind of finding ourselves and trying to discover who we were going to be as adults. But I can say that we met each other at the right time, because my story is kind of crazy, because all my friends know. I started, it was 2019. I started the year off. I said, you know what? I'm finna find me a wife.
wow.
Yeah, I got sick of all the extra dating and all that. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find my wife this year.
Be careful what you ask for.
The power of the tongue is crazy.
Yes.
Because I ended up meeting her and noticing that, because one of the things my grandma would tell me, that in order to be with a person long term, y'all gotta be equally yoked.
Yes.
So it's so crazy that a lot of the little coincidences, like we have the same initials. Well, he has the same initials now, but her first two initials were K and J. And she sings, I sing. She likes music, I like music. And it just started to add up, and all my little boxes on my list started to check off. I said, just one more thing. I just need a couple more things, and I figured, because that next year, I forgot what was going on, but it was one thing she did for me that I'll never forget, because I was trying to get back in school. I was stuck in a rut. And it's never ending circle that I need money, but I need money to get money type thing.
Yes.
So
I've done that one.
yeah. So I was stuck in this rut, and I had called my so-called father for some help. And he just blatantly told me no.
Wow.
And I was sitting on the arm of my couch, and I started to cry a little bit. She said, "What's wrong?" I was embarrassed to tell her that, because no man wants to see their woman want to see them crying.
Right.
So I wound up telling her what's going on. The next day, she gave me half of the money that I needed to get back in school.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? Ain't nobody ever, I ain't gonna say nobody else, because my grandma cared for me, but outside of that, ain't nobody ever just cared about me enough to just sacrifice, because she sacrificed.
Exactly.
Sacrificed for me to have something so I can get better. And that was the day that I knew that she was gonna be my wife. That I was like, because as you say, caring. I like the caring nature.
Yes.
Because my mom and my grandma are some of the most caring people on the planet. So that's one of the qualities I wanted to have in my wife. And just from that day on, I said, I was planning on getting her a ring, and then I made the proposal a little ceremony, because she had just graduated. And it was COVID, so she didn't get to have a graduation party. So I set it up as a graduation party, but really it was my proposal. And that's how I got her, because she said yes. Because she said no. We've been fighting. So, being that you've been married 23 years, what are the keys to a good, I ain't gonna say, 23 years seems short, to some, compared to some people, because you got people married 50, 60 years, but 23 years is a long time. I'm 27. You've been married to 90% of my life.
Yeah.
So what are some keys to having a good, healthy marriage?
I'm glad that you asked that. Just what I was saying earlier, communication. Communication is number one. To communicate one with another. Secondly, listening.
Right.
To listen to one another. I have to take an opportunity to listen to her. She listens to me. We communicate one with the other. And that communication also helps us to be patient with one another. In a marriage, it's a 100%, shall I say, if it makes sense. And the 100% is I need to give 100% of me, and she need to give 100% of her. Sometimes we say a marriage is 50%, 50%, but now it's 100% because we got to remember the vow. She has become me, I have become her. We are one. And so with that one, whatever struggles I go through, I don't go through it by myself. She going to go through it also. So that's the thing, the key, communication, listening, being patient, and then ultimately, above all, is love.
Right.
Learn to continue to love one another in spite of.
You can't live with somebody if you don't truly love them.
That's it. That's it. I've heard it. I heard Kurt, about folk who said, "I love them, but I'm not in love with them."
How could that be?
It's strange to me.
Yeah, how could that be? I've only been married. About to be 4 years now.
Bless you.
You weren't about to get me. There you go. About to be 4 years now, and I can say that being married it's not a chore, it's a job, because you have to choose to wake up and be in a marriage every day. Whether she make you mad, whether I make her mad, she still have to wake up and be like, I'm going in here and cook them some breakfast. It don't matter at them. Or I'm gonna go out here and wash the clothes. Or I'm gonna go out here and get her something to eat because even though she mad at me. So the what I learned so far is that you have to have more love in your heart for a person, because everybody gonna make you mad. Anything gonna, it's gonna tee you off sometimes.
Right.
But the more love you have for the person, the more the love will overcome everything that the person does.
And you're saying something there, because even during the few years you've been married, what helps you in your marriage is that even though when arguments or when disagreements come up, you'll learn how to deal with them, or you know how to deal with them. You may walk out of the room, but you may not walk out of the house.
Right.
And you walk out of the room because guess what? I'm collecting my thoughts.
Right.
I may not reply back then, but that's teaching me that word again, patience.
Yeah.
It's teaching me patience, and because of what's been said or what's going on, now I'm thinking about some of that stuff, and to go back and to, shall I say, we go back and to reconcile with each other, and to help that relationship, because with the relationship, with the reconciling, it's going to be communication.
Right.
All the way back what I'm saying is the communication. And being that we're communicating now with each other, it puts us back on track. Then there's the word love. And so love puts us or brings us back together.
Right.
And so in spite of whatever we deal with, we need to make sure we understood the vow. For better or for worse, for richer or for poor, for sickness and in health. And so those things, that if we're gonna be broke, we're gonna be broke together.
Right, man. Look, you said a word right there. Yeah, if we gonna be broke, we gonna be broke together.
Broke together.
And I think that's one of the keys that's missing in today's marriages and short-lived marriages, because they want all the flash and the flam and let's take a trip and let's do all that. What you gonna do when you sitting on the couch and she done made you mad? Okay. What you gonna do when you come home and you just had a long day and he or she done made you mad? Now you got it's only 7 o'clock. You just can't go in there right to sleep. Because I know a woman, she ain't gonna let you sleep when she. That ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
It's not happening.
Like I said, you got to have more of that love in your heart, so it can overcome anything that person does for you, anything does to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now we know how to be in a good marriage.
Yes.
Let's. What are some of like of the. What are some of the I lost my track. What are some of the things that you instilled in your son that you hope to instill in your son? Because you can teach him all you want, but he's still gonna do what you want to do at the end of the day. But one of the things that you tried to instill in your son that you hope that he take with him, that set him up to be a successful husband, man, whatever.
He is a husband, but some of the things God still in him was first of all to put God first in his life.
Right.
Regardless of whatever happens, put him first. Trust in God. Then secondly, to make sure that because he have his spouse, to love her with all his heart.
Right.
And the thing about loving her with all his heart is that there's some, what we said earlier, there's going to be some difficulties sometimes. But you need to make sure that you just continue to do your part in this relationship.
Right.
Where it can continue to go on. Then to help him to be strong. I guess that go hand in hand. To help him to be strong. And the strength is, know where his strength come from.
Right.
I go back to the Bible with that. Know where your help come from. It come from God. And being that he understands that, then he can carry on his life a little more better. That when he fall in a situation or trouble, that yet he can go and talk to somebody. It's not just going to the doctor, but he going to the great physician.
Right.
You go to God and talk to him about his situation.
Right.
But also leave the door open. Always let him know that the door is always open. You need to talk. You know, man-to-man talk. I can talk to you. I can talk to you as a father. I can talk to you as a preacher. I can talk to you as a friend. But yet, the communication again need to be there. That we need to communicate. You need to make sure he communicate with his spouse, communicate with God, communicate with the one that's trying to help him.
Right. Okay. See that now. That's the type of things that young black men need to hear because as a man, we are harder on ourselves than anybody because we always judge to the greater scope of everything. we judge the man. It's a crime shame sometimes how much a man is judged based off just a little portion of what you know about him.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes, we don't, as men, we don't get to express ourselves emotionally because we do. Sometimes, I ain't gonna say we can't, but society says we shouldn't express ourselves emotionally. So what is something that you do that's therapeutic for you? So like when life is weighing on you and all that, what's something that's therapeutic for you?
I take the time to what I call me time.
Right.
I get some me time. I may go into a quiet place, whether it's in my house, or whether it's getting in my vehicle, in my car, and drive off somewhere and just sit for a moment and just think and just think about some things and just let my mind just marinate on things. It helps me relax, to calm down. Also, there's a time that you can just take and go back and just, how should I put this? You can go to whatever makes you happy. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Whatever makes you happy. I was telling somebody the other week that I went to the beach and flew my kite. That sounds crazy, bro, man. Yeah, I flew my kite. Yeah, it's something to make me happy.
Like I said, it's small things like that because for me, I'm like you. I like quiet time, but I go do stuff that I like to walk, and I like to walk and sing because singing is already therapeutic for me.
Mm-hmm.
So while I'm walking, it gets all that built up stuff, and then when I'm singing, it helps me calm me down. So I'm getting out and I'm putting in good stuff, good vibes into me. So like I said, you gotta worry about that. If you like flying your kite and that's therapeutic for you, by all means. And I ain't worried because I hate when people try to judge the way people like to calm down.
Right.
Like I like if you like to play with your action figures, or if you like to sit down on the floor or something like that, don't worry about what somebody got to say. But as long as it's helping you,
right,
in your way, then by all means do it, my brother.
That was my physician said to me one day. He asked me the same question like you did. He says, "How's the flock?" I said, "Everybody doing pretty well." He said, "How are you doing?" I said, I'm doing pretty well." He said, "Really? What helps you to do well?" Wow. He said, "What kind of fun are you having?" I said, "Well, I go see the memories of what kind of fun are you having?"
Right.
Time for yourself. And I really didn't know because I was just caught up in this thing. This is my job.
Right.
I got to do this 24/7. Don't have time for this. Got to make sure I get home, take care of family. But
Right.
guess what? He says, what do you like to do? And so that's what helped me, flying a kite. If I had to go out and take my golf club and go to the driving range and just, if something make me angry, maybe I write it on the ball.
Yeah.
And I hit it. Yeah, and let it go. Hit the ball. And just after a while, I relax. And so what I started doing is taking a day out of the week or 2 out of the week and turn my phone off. And it'd be my time.
Right.
I may take 3 hours. I may take an entire day. I started getting out more, leaving, getting away from everything, and then come back later to it.
Right.
And so that helped me health-wise. It helped me mentally and spiritually. It helped me, and I think that's what the big help is that when in our lives as black men, we don't know how really to what I call a relaxing time, to just have me time, not just going wild, but just having that time that you just need that comfort,
Right.
that surety, that shall I say that humble mind.
Well, I must say, because it's one thing that we aren't taught that we can have that to ourselves.
Right.
Well, we as black men growing up, one thing I always heard, we have to work it. Well, they usually say we work until we die.
Yeah.
So we have to constantly keep working and keep improving ourselves. We don't think we have time for ourselves at all. When really, in actuality, that's the most important part of your mental health, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as a man, because like I said, we got so many burdens, and like I said, you're a father, you're a minister, and you're a husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot walking on your shoulders at one time.
Yes.
So like I said, you need to be able to keep everything in wraps because in sanity. But that's also going back to my grandma always tell me, you have to talk to God, baby.
That's it. That's wisdom.
She tell me all the time, you have to talk to God. And when you're going through your certain storms, you don't necessarily think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only, well, no, I think it's in reverse. It's when you the happiest is when you don't think about talking to God. Like, hey, thank you for doing this for me, and thank you for doing that. It's when you down on the floor, or you down, you know what I'm saying, you're down on yourself. You're like, Lord, please help me get out of this or whatever. You calling on the Lord when you're down, but don't want to talk to him when you're up.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to make it my habit to talk to him regardless of how I feel.
Exactly.
And that comes from my grandma, because she tell me every day. Well, she asked me. That's why I love my grandma. She called me every day. It don't matter what time it is. She'll call me, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" And then she can tell when something bothering me, because I usually talk to her for about 30 minutes about nothing. And if I try to be short, she's like, "Something bothering you," and ain't. Just like to read me, She'll sit there and read me, and then the first thing she'll say, you got to talk to God about it. Whatever's wrong with it, just talk to God about it. And what I found out is, once you talk about it, put it out there, that sometimes that burden do lift up off of you.
Yes.
Because saying you going through, say you need a bill paid. Let's use that.
Mm-hmm.
And you ain't got the money. Say, Lord, I don't know how it's gonna do, or how it's gonna be, but if it's your will, it will be done. And just let it go. 9 times out of 10, that bill get paid.
Amen.
I mean, I'm a witness. I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna kind of wrap this up, because we've been talking for a minute.
It's enjoyable.
Yeah, we're talking for. I could talk to people for hours.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm gonna do this last part. What's something that's bothering you in the black community right now?
You already know what we're getting ready. Our black men.
What about them? What they do?
Our black men, we are allowing negative influence into our communities.
Right.
Not only into our communities, but as a black man, into our minds, our hearts. Negativity. I'm a proponent of one who loves to be positive, because we can see the positive of the growth in one another.
Right.
And we should be able to see that. we should look at the negative part, the crime, the baby drama mama kind of stuff
Right.
That's out there, having children before marriage.
Mhm.
I think, and I say this, and I know we don't have enough time today, but that was really my real vision for putting a life center here, is to help a lot of us in the community to, number one, to have what I call an etiquette class.
Right.
How to dress, how to present yourself.
Oh man, oh my gosh.
How to talk to people, one another. How
Right.
to answer, reply.
Right.
How we are to be influences in our community.
Yeah.
Because we are strength. It's strength in our black men. But we got to use it in the positive way, not the negative way.
Right.
We can go fight my brother over here,
Mhm.
but if I turn it around and learn how to, instead of fighting him, love him,
Right.
that's the strength right there.
Right.
And so I was just looking at the vision of influencing our community in the black man,
Right.
Building him up, to let him know where he came from, what he is, where he's wanting to go, have the influence of college, those who are in school come in and to help mentor them through these courses and give them the vision where they're trying to go or what they want to do.
Right.
And so one of the things, like I said, is crime. Crime. That's what it is, crime. There's so much of it when you hear. You used to hear things like in school crime. You say, "Oh, I know who that is," but then you find out, "Oh, man, that's my cousin." You know. I think we need to do more, better than we have been doing, working with our black men.
I'm with you when you're right, because like you said, as etiquette, as funny as that sounds, like I said, some people are like me that didn't have that parental guidance or fatherly guidance to know how to tie a tie, how to write a resume, how to apply for a job, how to file taxes, how to fix a car, how to put a battery in a car, simple stuff like that. You never know what type of stuff you needed or you was missing until that situation arises. You with your girl, she tell you, "Hey, change my tire."
Wow.
I don't know how to do that.
What?
Right. So like, I'm with you. I like that, because there's certain things that I feel like, especially as black men, that we need to learn how to do. And when we do that, this is one thing I want the black men community to stop doing. I want them to stop gatekeeping things. Like, say if I get a good job, don't be like, "Hey man, I don't want you working where I'm at," because black people got this thing where they want to see you doing good, but not better than them.
Better than that, exactly. Crabs in the bucket.
Crabs in the bucket. They want to see you doing good, but not better than them. And I want us to stop doing that, because the more representation we have, the easier it is for other black men and young black men to do things. To say, I got on as a manager at a bank. Now I started hiring other black kids out there who may been, got a little felony or something like that. He ain't in the streets no more. He ain't working every day.
That's it.
And now he gonna go out there and be like, "Hey man, look, you ain't gotta do all that. You can come work at this bank."
Exactly.
We teach one, pull one out, and put, So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you when you say that. So I guess we just gonna wrap this up, and
Yes.
I appreciate y'all for listening, and I thank you for coming on. And if you want to listen to this man preach, we are here at 531 William Parkway, Church of Christ. Church started 10:30, but we really don't get started till about 11. So church started 10:30. Doors of the church is always open. You're welcome. We're here every Sunday. If there's a Sunday on the calendar, we here. So yeah, I appreciate y'all for listening, and we out. Thank you all for listening. Keep letting your light shine. This your boy Kirk, and I'm out. Lights, please.